Hi, my name is Chocobo, and this is my guide on how to efficiently complete farming contracts within the Farming Guild. It is estimated that you will receive over half your herbal experience now as an Ironman from farming contracts alone. Farming contracts are now an integral part of the herbal meta for Ironmen. This guide will summarize everything you need to know to start efficiently completing farming contracts. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. The Farming Guild is located at the far western side of Zia, north of the Kebos lowlands. It is required to have 60% Hosidius favor as well as 45 farming to enter the guild. There are four main teleports to the Farming Guild, the first being the Skills Necklace teleport, the second being the Fairy Ring code CIR, circled here in red and following this path to the entrance, the third being the Farming Skill Cape teleport, and the fourth being the Spirit Tree if it is already grown inside the guild. Before diving in how to properly do your farming contracts, there are some helpful unlocks that can be very useful in maximizing the amount of contracts you can do per hour. The first of these items would be the Amulet of Nature, which 75 farming, 31 crafting, and 27 magic are required for Ironmen. If you happen to not be an Ironman, you can actually avoid all of these requirements by simply buying the pre-Amulet of Nature and using an Enchant Emerald spell on it. If you happen to be a level 3 skiller, you can avoid this as well by buying an Enchant Emerald tablet. Prior to the release of the Farming Guild, the Amulet of Nature had become relatively obsolete. Third-party clients had phased it out, and you were able to now check the progress of your patches simply by looking at the add-ons within RuneLite as well as OS Buddy clients. However, with the addition of the new farming boss Hespori, and more specifically the Chronos Anima Seed, these third-party clients are unable to accurately track their randomly increased growth rates. When equipping the Amulet of Nature, you are able to attune its power to any farming patch. When your crop within this patch is fully grown, a message will be displayed in your chat box identical to the one seen at the bottom of this slide, thus allowing you to more precisely complete your contracts with little to zero downtime. Another very useful feature to unlock is the auto weed from Tithe Farm. This will make it so you never have to rake and will save you a lot of time and peace of mind when growing lots of different types of crops. It will take you a little bit over an hour to unlock this reward, and there are lots of guides on the Tithe Farm. Simply, the requirements are 36 farming as well as 100% Hosidius favor. Last but not least, the utilization of anima seeds is very important in increasing the overall amount of contracts you can complete per day. To get these anima seeds, it is very important to constantly be killing Hespori on cooldown, and I will go over this further into the video. Hespori seeds commonly drop from contracts, so you shouldn't worry too much about running out of these once you get your contracts rolling. To fully utilize farming contracts, pre-planting is a necessary part of the process. So what is pre-planting? It's relatively self-explanatory. You simply will plant all of your different crops as well as trees and not check their health. Unlike Slayer, where you are required to first be assigned a monster and then go and kill said monster for experience, in the Farming Guild, you can actually plant these different crops before actually being assigned to grow them. And as long as you do not check the health or harvest them, as soon as Guildmaster Jane assigns these crops, you will be able to check them and instantly complete your contract. Here's an example of why you should pre-plant and how effective it actually is. So I went ahead and completed my Snapdragon task from Guildmaster Jane, and I was assigned then to go and pick snapegrass. Since I already had pre-planted a snapegrass plant, I very quickly am able to farm this up without having to wait for the timer and receive a second seed box, which you will see here. So fast forwarding through me actually farming the snapegrass, you can see I get a message in the chat box that I've completed another farming guild contract and I'm able to start another one. And unfortunately, I actually get something I don't have pre-planted, but I will go into this more when I get into the canceling slide next. Referring back to the pre-plant farming list, it is important that you tailor this part of the video to whatever your farming level is. So this is mainly based around people at higher levels of 85 plus, but that doesn't mean that you can't use this as a base list and just tailor it to whatever the highest things you can farm are. So in allotment 1, I plant watermelons, and allotment 2 are snapegrass. I always have these planted because they're assigned quite frequently. Every once in a while you can get assigned strawberries from the medium tier. So every once in a while I will pick my snapegrass and then just plant a strawberry there, but very rarely does that happen. The flower is a white lily. For main accounts, this won't be an issue because you can buy the seed, but unfortunately on Ironman accounts, if you don't have very many Hespori kills, it's unlikely that you have these white lily seeds. You are assigned them quite frequently, so once you get these, it will be a great help, but I've done 11 Hespori kills so far and have not received a drop of them, so I just planted Limpwort there. I also plant a poison ivy. The poison ivy can't be diseased, so you don't even need to compost this, and it's really nice to just grow. The cactus is also a potato cactus, and that is to the north of the allotments if you've never seen the cactus patch. The herb is kind of interchangeable for me. I always try and aim to get a contract with an herb, so I will overnight plant a snapdragon because it seems to be the most likely to appear, but this is kind of just interchangeable depending on your contract. I really do always aim, as I said, for that herb contract. My tree is a maple tree because hard, easy, and mediums can all assign maples, and it is a very short growing tree, unlike a magic tree, and also for Ironmen, you might eventually run out of magic trees. My fruit tree, I always put a dragon fruit. You actually will get enough dragon fruit trees to do this if you do enough contracts, because you're only farming one of these a day anyways. Also, I do my redwood and celestius, but you want to have to grow these over time. They take a long time to grow. You will eventually get these seeds and have a plethora of them from contracts, but it will take you a while. So now I'm going to go ahead and discuss what I do personally for downgrading contracts from hards down to easies. As a rule of thumb, any task longer than 4 hours, i.e. a magic tree, any type of fruit tree, a redwood, or a celestius that are not pre-planted is an instant cancel for me. Depending on your activities for the day, if you don't feel like doing very many contracts, then a fruit tree is perfect for you, but for me, I constantly am doing these to maximize the amount of herb seeds I can collect a day. Obviously, if you do not have this seed available to farm, you're going to have to also cancel. The main thing to note is when going from hard to medium, you have a lot more leniency than going from medium to easy. If, for example, you downgrade your hard to a medium, you want to be very cautious about downgrading that again. You have a high probability of downgrading your medium to an easy and getting something like an orange tree, in which case you will be stuck with those for the entire day, effectively making it so you only did one contract that day. So be very careful when downgrading from mediums to easies. Like I said, if you get a berry bush at medium, you should just stick with it because there's a high probability that unfortunately you will get those fruit trees at the lower ones. Now I want to go ahead and talk about anim seeds and how they should be used when doing contracts. The Chronos seed is by far the most important, and you should be collecting these as much as possible. The Chronos seed allows your plants to skip stages of their growth as well as instantly grow to full, which effectively can double the amount of contracts and herb runs you do per day. The second most important, if you do not have a Chronos, would be using your Addis seeds, but honestly, nothing comes close to the power of the Chronos currently. The Iasor really isn't worth using, and honestly, I don't think it has any real use yet. That's going to be the end of this video. Thank you to Rook for helping me make this entire video, as well as a shout out to the Ironman Sealing Methods Discord for the advice on how to actually properly pre-plant, so that I had all of the correct information for this video. If you found this guide useful, consider liking and subscribing, as it benefits me a lot, and thank you again for watching. I'll be releasing episode 41 of my Hardcore Ironman progress video in a couple days. Thank you again, and I'll see you again soon.